What's up and how is everybody? This is the third video to this series on beginner archery. So today we're going to be shooting and I'm going to be explaining how to align your peep sight with your front sight when you're looking through. Go over a little bit of form and a couple of things that might help you while you get started shooting. I'm going to be shooting with the wrist release today. Because like I said, most people, so I might switch between that and the thumb release. But like I said, most people are going to start off with one of these. So on the bow, this can be your friend, this wrist strap. For beginner archers, you won't see a lot of people that aren't like indoor target shooting and stuff, where you're having to be just absolutely precise. But this does help stabilize your bow. Let me put this on real quick. But like I was saying, is it does help stabilize your bow on your wrist when you are sitting at draw. So it just loops right around. Man, this thing is giving me problems like recently. Stay on there. But it sits on the top of your hand. So when you're lightly holding your bow, it's supporting on it. So going on that also, when you are shooting your bow, you don't want to be, death gripping it. You don't want to hold that thing super tight. You want it to be able to just loosely kind of move in your hand. So like you'll see, like when I shoot, like literally it's sitting in, the crotch of my hand, and my pointer index finger is sitting right at the top of the grip. So when you draw back, got out of camera there. When you draw back, so you're going to want to kind of come above, elbow up, arm out, and then you're going to push back and draw. I'm not going to draw that way because there's people that way. So up, out, and then draw. Like that. Just take this thing off here. I had a problem with it last time. And I'm glad I did that because this actually slid down, made it a little bit longer. So that's another reason why you point it in a safe direction, because that's actually a failure on this release. That's not the greatest. It's messing me up here. Okay. But yeah, it slid down. It was attached here and it slid through this here. So that's not the greatest. It didn't slide far, just maybe a centimeter though, but I felt it move. So it's not going to mess with me too bad. This is the TrueFire Toro, by the way, and that's the first I've ever had it. It's probably just getting worn out from being shot. So again, up, and then you're going to push with this arm, and you're going to pull with your shoulder blades. So just like that, and then you're drawing. Okay. So it's up, push with this arm, and pull with your shoulder blades away. You don't want to pull with your shoulder. You don't want to come up and pull with your shoulder, because, like, something fails, you're going to send an arrow off who knows where. Now I keep my arrow pointed in the general direction of where I want to shoot, but it's not aiming straight at the target the whole time. So when I come back to draw, my nose touches the back of the string. My eye is aligned with the peep sight. And then you align your peep sight with your front sight. You put your whatever desired pin. I have this one set 20, 30, 40, 50. But you're going to align that right around the ring of this, centered in the peep sight. You put your desired dot on whatever your yardage is at. You put that on your target. You take you a nice calm breath in. And as you're breathing out slowly, you squeeze the trigger off and let it follow through. Shoot and let it follow through. Keep your bow stayed right where you were holding it. Shoot and let it follow through. That'll give you the most consistent, best shots. I'm gonna go get that arrow real quick. I think I'm actually at 24 yards, but I shot 20, but I'm pretty sure that I hit it right on. Maybe just to the left. Yeah, just a little to the left. Yeah, just a little to the left. If you guys want to see how to make a target like that, I can make a video on that also, because that's all a handmade target there. And I don't shoot it a whole lot personally, but I figured for this video it'd be easy for you guys to see that big target. That's my people that I teach how to shoot bows. That's usually what they shoot at. My targets are, the deer and the little yellow bag. Now I don't really shoot the yellow bag that much either, because where I shoot, I can tell you also is if you don't have a rangefinder, you can always do a step. So just a a little bit bigger step. That's usually right around a yard. Sorry if that is loud. There's people throwing garbage in the dumpster. So let's get on sighting in your bow. I guess you probably need to sight in your bow before you're out here shooting. So what I like to do and what I teach people is you go pretty decently close to the target. Right here, we are at about 5 yards. 5 yards. 5 yards almost exactly. Let's see if my rangefinder picks up the same. I counted 5 steps. My rangefinder says 5.2 yards. So, okay. So, when you're there, about 5 yards, you can draw your bow. Oh, see, that's slipping again. I just slipped out more. I'm going to have to not shoot with this. That's going to have to be fixed. That's the first problem I've ever had with any true fire release. I stand by them, but that, you can see where it's flat. But it slid up as I'm drawing. It's actually sliding that rope up through this holder. I mean, it's not going to go past this. You know what I mean? But I don't want to risk it. That, to me, is dangerous. So we're going to switch over to my thumb release. We can still continue doing the same thing we were, though. Okay. So at 5 yards, you're going to want to do everything exactly the same. Make sure everything's aligned and good. Staying in shape. If you've just tied on your D-loops, you want to check them after you shoot a few times and make sure that these are staying close together and your knots aren't coming through. Because trust me, a half draw through and that D-loop comes off and you punch yourself in the mouth. Whew, it hurts, buddy. It does. Okay, so at 5 yards, you can put your green dot, your topmost dot on the sight, and shoot. See, I hit dead ringer in the center of that. or just, yeah, just a little bit low left. But it's in the center of it. I'm not, if you want, you know, if that was it could have been me shooting, or it could be the sight. But you're going to want to take 3 arrows and shoot them all in the same, you know, the same spot from 5 yards. If you get a group to where they're all together, then that's where your bow's shooting. It's not you, it's the bow. Unless you are doing the same thing wrong every single time. So you're going to shoot again. Okay. See, I moved up to, I'm about 3 yards now. But see how it hit a little low? That's normal. I usually say start at 5 or 10 yards. So what I was going to explain, so if you're shooting and all your arrows are going low left, low right, just low or high right or high left, or even with it right or left, you're going to follow with your sight. So say all your arrows are hitting left. You're going to loosen your left and right bolt, and you're going to move it left or right, depending on if it's going right. You move your whole sight housing to the right. If it's going left, you move it to the left. Now, people, if you're coming from shooting guns and you know how to sight in a gun, it's the opposite. With a gun, if it's hitting up high, you're moving it down left, you know, like upright, you move the scope down left. It's opposite with a bow. If it's hitting upright, you move your sight upright. And it might take a couple shots, you know, to get it to where you need, but you're not moving your sight to make the arrow do something different. You're moving your sight to do the same as what the arrow is doing. So I've backed up here to maybe 10 yards. Let's see. Yep, 10 yards. And you'll get good at judging distance if you shoot enough. It becomes kind of second nature, just seeing it all the time with your eyes. Okay, so okay, so 10 yards. You're going to do everything the same. You're going to up, draw back with your shoulder blades, you know, with your back muscles, not just your shoulder. You don't want to have shoulder problems. Okay, so this bow might need a little bit of tweaking. Like in the video the other day, the rest was actually loose, and I just tightened it back up, and I didn't mess with it. I have not paper tuned it. Paper tuning is something I'm going to show you guys here soon. But yeah, see, that's in the center again at 10 yards. So you're going to keep backing up 5, 10, 15. And if you're good and sight in to 15, and then you shoot 20, and you make a little bit of adjustment, like 20, you might shoot and it might, you know, drop a little bit. That's fine. Just move your sight down a little bit, and then 20 yards. If you want your top dot to be 20 yards, if you want it to be 10, set it at 10. You know, if you get your top dot at 10, and that's what you want, 10 yards is fine. Up to 20, 20 is not going to change much. I mean, 10 yards, you might be hitting here. 20 yards, you might hit, you know, right here. It's not going to be real different. Okay, got the paper tuner out. Now, this one is just built, just some 2x4s, 2 legs out of 2x4s, and then a roll of floor floor cover for painting paper. So you can buy a paper tuner. They're not all that expensive, but I just had the stuff laying around to build it. So that's what I did. I like building my own stuff. I'm gonna shoot this into that, and I know that this bow is not tuned already, so it's probably gonna shoot pretty wild through that paper. This bow, I've taken it apart and put it back together without tuning it a couple of times already. So here goes the first shot. And when you're paper tuning, you don't want to be very far away, just you know, a couple of feet. Aiming doesn't really matter on it. You just want to make sure you're going to hit what's behind it. Okay, so that's a high right tear. There's a groundhog running up the hill. There are groundhogs everywhere out here. But so that's a high right tear. I'm going to show you guys what I mean by that. So that's knock high right. So you can see the arrow's tip went in here. The fletchings hit up here. So it's actually flying in and up like that. So arrow went in here. Fletchings hit through up here. You can see the rips from the fletching. So the best way to kind of straighten that up is to move your wrist up and right just a little bit. And make sure that your fletchings aren't making contact with the cable. Because if your fletchings make contact with the cable, it'll make your arrow fly off all crazy. So go ahead and do a second shot. Make sure that it's the same. That it wasn't something I did. Maybe I was holding the bow funny. I do know that the fletchings are not making contact with the cable on this bow. I've already made sure that that's clear before. So do another one right next to it. Yeah, okay, exactly the same rip. So knock high right. I'll put on the screen a thing to show you how to adjust 4 different tears for knock high right, down low, left, up, and down. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a third one. I mean, I don't think it's gonna change much. What you're looking for when you shoot is a perfect bullet hole. Yep, okay, so all 3 exactly the same. It's textbook knock high right. Oh, come on out of there. There we go. But yeah, see, you're wanting to see see, that's almost, I pulled it through a little bit, but it's almost perfect bullet holes. The or the fletchings ripped up a little high there, just the way I pulled it through. But you want it to be perfectly through, straight, just a perfect bullet hole. I'm going to adjust this real quick, and then I will be right back. Okay, so to get with that, I'm not going to use that big one. I grabbed the wrong one, I think. We're going to raise the rest. All right, rest is raised. we're going to shoot again. I hate this target. Hate the target a lot. You're going to hear me complain about that target every time I shoot it. Okay. So just to the right of that one. Okay, that is way better. Much, much, much better. Now it's just kind of torn off to the right just a little bit. You can see the arrow went in here and it kind of tore to the right a little bit there. So we're just going to bring that rest to the left a little bit more. Now remember, I said I only went a half a tick, so I'm going to do a half a tick more. So I'm at 10 and a half, or 10 and a tick. It wouldn't be a half, I don't guess. And go over just a little bit more. Come on, work with me here. Thank you. All right. Now let's shoot that again. I'm going to go to the left of both of those shots. Now, if you're shooting and you cannot seem to get this to shoot a bullet hole, your spine of your arrow might be too weak. Just a fair warning. That is always a possibility. All right, just to the left. Man, it's getting in there closer. It's not much. It's a little bit less than this one, but not a whole lot better. Now, with the one thing that is a downside, if you buy a bow, see, that nock is definitely still shooting high because it's hitting the target with the nock in the air, nock pointing up. Now, I will tell you one thing about getting a cheaper bow like this Temu bow is if you have to shim the cams, you're going to have to figure out what kind of shims you can buy that'll fit in here to be able to shim the cam left or right, because they have no adjustments. Like on my Elite, it has limb pocket adjustments, and you can tune, after you get your rest perfect, you can tune the limbs to make it very precise. Can't do that with a cheaper bow, but that's okay, because you're not going to be taking a cheaper bow like this and shooting, 115, 120 yards with it. It's just not designed to do that. I mean, they're too short axle to axle. I mean, you can, but it's not going to be the greatest. I mean, there's people that shoot that far with traditional archery equipment, I wouldn't suggest doing it. And as somebody, if you're just beginning, then you're not going to be doing that anytime soon. You're going to upgrade bows. You're not going to keep the bow forever. This is, just kind of getting started, is what these videos are for. If you're shooting stuff like this right here, that's not the worst by any means. Like, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. But shooting nock high, you're going to move the rest up a little bit more. So we're going to go up just a little bit. And if you shoot after you move it up, then you might have, and it shoots nock low, then you might have to go, nock low with it. Just reverse what you did just a little bit and find that sweet spot. Let's see here. I'm going to shoot right above it. right above that middle one there. Oh, yeah, I think that's a broken arrow. Oops, goodness. That's actually a really good tear though, but that might have been the end of that gold tip arrow. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the end of it. Maybe not. No, this arrow. Okay, it pinched my nock. Pinched the nock together a little bit, but the arrow is okay. Nice. I'm pretty sure I have more of these tiny little nocks for these gold tips. These things are tiny, tiny little nocks. Yeah. But anyway, that right there is tons better. It's actually now, this is exactly what I was talking about. Now the nock is just a little, or it's going nock low. So I just need to do backwards what I just did. I need to lower my rest just a tiny bit. I'm not going to shoot this arrow right now because I don't know if I have another one of these nocks, and that nock's pretty bent up out of shape, and that's definitely not going to help any tuning, you know. But all right, that's that. Not an absolute perfect bullet hole, but it's as close as I'm going to get it today. I have some stuff I have to go do. I hope that these videos help y'all, and if you don't mind to hit the like and subscribe. In the next video, I'm going to go over, a little bit more advanced stuff. I'm going to get more into, holding your bow the correct way, different release techniques, the do's and don'ts. And then the people that are watching these also, I'm not used to talking to a camera, so that might be why I seem a little funny here and there, like I'll pause and think about what I'm going to say, because I do this stuff, just by myself almost all the time. I teach some people how to shoot, but when I'm actually interacting with another person, it's different. And when I'm standing out here, I'm in, basically in public, I'm not in a normal backyard or anything like that, away from anybody. I've got people that just stop and stare and watch me while I'm trying to do it, and it makes me a little bit nervous. I always tell them, like, if you're gonna watch me, just, don't do that. I'm joking. I don't mind if they watch. It does kind of make me a little bit nervous though when people start watching me. I look like a crazy person out here just talking to my camera. But you can do a little bit more tuning than that. That's not a perfect bullet hole by any means. It needs to be reversed just a little bit, so my rest needs to go down just a little, and then it should be almost perfect. I do hope that y'all enjoy my videos and help me grow my channel a little bit, so I can get out and teach more people, about archery. These videos, they're up for free for you to learn. You don't have to pay anybody. And I know that there's other channels out here that have, videos that are pretty much the same thing or close to the same thing. But sometimes, people leave stuff out and, don't go as in depth. I did kind of run through some stuff a little bit quicker today, besides the paper tuning, because I said on the last video, that's mainly what we were going to do today, was the paper tuning. It's mostly all on your rest. If you start getting into something that you cannot fix, like I said, it could be the spine of your arrow being too weak, and or you have to shim your cams. I do not know where you would get shims for. You'd have to find shims that will fit on the axle of these cams. You can see, if you look inside, there are shims. See that 3 stacked on the right, 2 on the left? Now you can move those. You can take the axle out and move those shims one side to the other, which will also help tune the bow. So you do that. That's really getting in depth, and that's would be a little bit worrisome for somebody that don't exactly know what they're doing. So if you don't mind, hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you.